We're going to call to order at 5:02. Attendance roll call. President Maxfield's here. Clerk Yarkishin. Trustee Lopez.
Here.
Trustee Hunt.
Here.
Would you all please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Approve, adopt agenda. Anything to add, subtract, or missing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. District mission statement. We are a collaborative, culturally rich educational community where rigorous and innovative curriculum prepares our students to be successful contributors to our global society. Item number 6, public comments. 6.1, public business from the floor, non-agendized items. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the board on any item regarding board business that is not on the agenda. Without taking action or entering into a dialogue with the public, board members may briefly respond to statements made or ask clarifying questions about topics posed by the public. Your matter may be referred to administration. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each.
Hello, Brian Fennan. I'm just here to say that I am disappointed that you planned and scheduled this meeting knowing you have new board members and that they're not participating on the board for this meeting. Thank you.
Hello, Michelle here. The elementary school had their winter performance on Tuesday, TK through 3rd grade, and tonight at 6:30 is the 4th through 6th grade band. So it would be awesome if you guys could show up. It'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
President Maxfield, I just would like to say welcome and acknowledge Trustee-elect Matt Reed. Welcome.
Welcome, Matt.
And as Trustee-elect Matt Reed knows, he will be sworn in Monday. Welcome. And I did meet with Trustee-elect Melindo, and he was invited to the meeting.
Any other comments? All right. Moving on to the meat of the matter. All right. Item 7, special session. Superintendent search update with Dr. Mahoney. Welcome, Scott.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great to be here. I've had an amazing time in your district and your community over the past 6 weeks. I've had well over 200 contacts. I can't say individual meetings or because I met with some people 2 or 3 or even 4 times, but well over 200 contacts. So I feel like we've got a really good feel for what your employees and parents and community members and you as trustees would like to see in terms of your superintendent's qualifications and what kind of person he or she will be. So I'll go over that real briefly. You have the packet that we sent you, so that's a lot of data there.
Yes, sir.
I figure I won't go over all the data. It's probably interesting for you to read, and we do have that, Nicole, or Monique put that online, so it's available to the public, just the raw data for people to look at, so that will probably be interesting for people to see as well. So the summary of the process is getting input, advertising, screening the applications, interviewing candidates, checking the references of the final candidates, doing a site visit, hopefully that you'll do, and developing the contract. So we're just finishing that first phase. The rest of the phases will be much shorter than this. They'll take longer as far as time, but each chunk will be much shorter, be much less involved. So the goal, as we talked at the beginning and you directed me to do, is to meet with as many people as possible in individual individual meetings and group meetings and using the online survey. So we did that, and we had a tremendous response. As far as individual meetings, I met with almost all individuals. There were a couple meetings where I met with 2 or 3 people together, and instead of taking them through that little dot activity, I took them through these 3 questions. So the 3 questions that I asked all the individuals was, what do you think is amazing about your district? What are some areas for growth? And who would you really like to see as your next superintendent as far as their qualifications and personal attributes? These are the people that I met with individually. We've had a chance to look at that. I'll leave that up there for a second for the audience to see. Again, this is online. So an extremely wide variety of people. Now, this is only my 9th search, but for Calistoga with less than 900 students, I've had more input by far than any other district. Your community and your district really would like to provide input, and they have done so. Actually attended a Rotary meeting today, your Rotary meeting, and talked to them and had more input from your Rotary Club. So the participants, the group sessions, there were 13 people at the elementary site meeting as far as employees, 12 at the high school, junior high, 32 people came to the ELAC committee, 14 parents came to the elementary meeting, and 10 parents came to the junior and senior high meeting. The online survey, 23 people, parents and community members responded in English, and we didn't have any respondents in Spanish. And that was a little bit of a surprise. I had some people talk to me today about why that could be. And we passed out a ton of those little cards. About 150 cards I had that I printed with the Spanish survey link, and we gave them all out. 32 employees responded to the survey, 40 high school students, which was very cool. I went and met with the Student Senate and had a great meeting with them. They're really awesome students. And then 4 board members responded to the online survey. So coming out from all of the input, this is what Scott Mahoney thinks he heard as far as what you all would like to see as far as the person's qualifications. So the goal tonight will be to hopefully get you to come to consensus on professional qualifications, the personal attributes, the EdJoin writing prompts, the screening criteria, and the final timeline. And those will be in your packet, and I'll go over those briefly. So I know it's boring to read from a PowerPoint, but just to make sure that the audience can hear, this is what I think that I've heard based on everybody's input. It would be really great if the person can read, write, and speak in Spanish. The person should have a record of success working collaboratively with principals, faculty, and staff to increase student achievement. That the person should have experience in a small school district with a significant population of Latino English learners. This would be a big plus. The person should have a history of, or an ability to work well with a variety of individuals and groups across the district and the community. Have some teaching experience in the K-12 grades. Have been a principal at some point in the K-12 grades. Have an understanding of and experience with the latest advances in technology to benefit 21st century teaching and learning. Experience with budget and school finance, including the basic aid funding model. Experience with strategic and visionary long-range planning. And a demonstrated ability to foster and maintain a climate of trust and transparency. So those are the qualifications. It's a pretty big list, but they all seem pretty important. Normally it's 4 or 5 or 6 are the most important, but for your community and employees and you, it seemed like this, I couldn't condense it to more than this. As far as the personal attributes, a visionary leader who understands and supports the climate and culture in a small school district and community. An honest and ethical leader who consistently demonstrates the highest levels of integrity. Someone who consistently works well with a variety of individuals and groups. A good listener who generally listens to, respects, and considers the input and perspective of others. A child-focused, thoughtful, decisive leader who, after seeking input, takes the time necessary to make important, lasting decisions. A transparent leader who will foster and maintain a climate of trust. A leader who is an excellent communicator, both verbally and in writing. A leader who knows and uses excellent conflict management skills. A leader who is active and visible in the district and community. A leader who will have longevity in the district. And ideally, the person will live here in Calistoga. So again, this list is normally smaller, but I just couldn't make it any smaller than this. So the screening of the applications.
What about writing prompts?
So let's go to the writing prompts first. So again, on the EdJoin application, you can insert writing prompts. And Monique has been a master at EdJoin, so can include these prompts. So the candidates are asked to respond to a series of prompts. The challenge is you don't want so many prompts that a candidate looks and says, I'm not going to do it. They're asking too much of me. So this is quite a few. So the prompts, how have you prepared yourself to lead in the Calistoga Joint Unified School District? Describe your leadership style and the extent to which it is considered collaborative by your employees. Write about something you've accomplished that you or others consider visionary. Describe your successes working collaboratively with others to maximize student achievement, especially with a large population of Latino English learners. In a district with a large population of English language learners, students whose families struggle financially, what would you do to challenge the more advanced students in the district? This was something that came out of just about every group I met with. Describe how you make yourself visible and the extent to which you have been involved in your district and community. Describe any experiences you've had with budget development and oversight, especially in a basic aid district, or not in a basic aid district, what you know about basic aid funding. What should be the relationship between a superintendent and his or her board? What are 3 things you will do upon arrival in Calistoga? So again, that's a lot. I think that's enough for them to respond. You'll have some that won't respond, and those tend to be not screened in. They'll be in that bottom pink pile. Still obviously be able to see them. But those are pretty meaty, and I think you'll be able to tell a lot from candidates based on their responses.
You really think that's the right amount? It seems like a lot.
It's a lot.
Application.
It is a lot.
I mean, I think they're great questions. You translate them into the interview questions, but for an application, I think there's a lot there.
Yeah, there is.
I don't want a person to spend 4 hours trying to write up 9 answers. You know, paring that down a little bit would hurt the process.
You guys have any suggestions?
I mean, I don't mean to diminish any of the information we'd like to know, but what are some of the, what are the 3 key things you want to take away from the application process? What can you use to drive that?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions. They're all great questions. Would that be something that would be asked later?
They will, and what I explained to the groups and individuals that I met with is that although everything that people came up with is important, we had to limit it to what's most important, and then the rest could come out either in the application or during the interviews. That makes sense. So again, we're taking all the input and everything else follows from the input.
I really like just to steal the forefront.
Yeah.
The top one, what have you done to prepare yourself? That's a good one. What's your vision? Why are you doing this? But I like what do you know about basic aid? I think that's a real challenge that people that don't know anything about basic aid, we need to, that's really a big kind of a showstopper. If they've never even heard of it, don't understand the concept, that's a tough one to walk into a district and try and figure out that whole budgeting process. And then the last one I like, what are the 3 things you're going to do? So you prepared yourself, do you know about enough how to make the district run? And then the last one, what are you going to do for us? Do you have a vision?
I think that's good too, and I also like when you're asking for specific examples, because
Absolutely.
yeah, in my experience interviewing when I was in HR, the top performers always were able to come up with specific examples and not just vague, overarching. So where you say, what are 3 of your successes? I think that's good one too, because then they have to really come down to telling you what 3 programs that came out successful and had some form of tracking to them.
Yeah, the other thing you can do too is take that and say, prepare yourself to be a leader, describing the successes
Yeah.
you've had. You can make it a single. 9 questions is just overwhelming when you go to do an application. There's plenty of other things that you can put on there.
I think it's also very important to us
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, those two good questions could be combined. You know, your successes working in this population, and the second part, which is what have you done to address the other areas? Don't be such an overwhelming two questions.
Did it done 4 questions.
Okay, you're all good with that?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's,
Okay, it will be done. And then the screening criteria, and again, these are the criteria that the screeners grade the applications against. And these are supposed to flow from the input and what I think that I've heard. So the way it works is the application pops up on the right-hand side. These criteria pop up on the left-hand side, and there's a scale below from 1 to 10. 1 being nothing there, 10 being the most amazing we've ever seen. So there's normally about 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 here, and that's not too much. 10, one time I had 12, and a couple of screeners said, Mahoney, it's too many. We can't take that much time. So 7 seems to be a good number, and I think I've included everything, but I'd like to see if you could think of anything else. So the 7, extent of administrative experience in a small school district with demographics similar to Calistoga, degree to which the provided documents indicate the candidate has been successful in his or her career, working with a variety of groups of people, degree to which candidate has a demonstrated record of success working collaboratively with others to increase student achievement, especially with regard to significant subgroups, degree to which candidate understands basic aid funding, indication the candidate enjoys being visible and active within his or her broader community and district. For example, does the candidate visit schools and attend school and community events? Degree to which the resume, letter of introduction, and letters of recommendation suggest candidate has experience and skills necessary to lead in Calistoga. And then the last one is a really important one. Strength of letters of recommendation in general, ranging from very little real information about the candidate to commentary that conveys this is the most amazing person we've ever seen. So you see that the screeners right away go to the letters of recommendation, and you'll have some candidates that have 40 letters from way back to 1970 that say the person is really nice and they worked here for us and we wish them well in their future endeavors. To 2 or 3 letters that are recent from supervisors or board members or superintendents that say, you guys would be absolutely silly not to hire this person. We're so sad to see them leave. They're amazing. So you'll see the screeners will jump to those right away, and that will give them a feel for the extent they need to look at the rest of the criteria. So these are the ones that I thought of. If you guys think of anything else, or how do these fit?
well, they're kind of answering from what the questions are, depending on what they put down. So it's kind of covering all the bases. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's got that.
The last biggie is the timeline. So this is, and the timeline can be whatever you say it is. I'm wide open. I did turn down a search because I promised you that I would, so completely focused on you guys.
We like that. Thank you.
So I have a lot of time to invest, and we're going to find lots of great candidates for you. So my thought was that the first week back after Christmas, remember the Christmas break, the holiday break, it's a weird period. So Christmas is actually 2 days after most people get out. So it's a 2-week period starting that Friday, and Christmas is 2 days later. So people will be coming back and they'll be focused on everything that's happened since they've been gone. And I'm not sure that they would spend a lot of time looking at the ads at that point in time. So my sense was January 9th is that next Monday. So it opened the period then. The superintendents, the 400 superintendents in California will get an email Monday morning, the 9th, and the ad will come out in the 2 trade newsletters on the 9th. And then I would go for up until the 17th. That could go up until the week before, the 10th, but I thought a good long period would be good. Plus, it gives me a chance to talk to people at the Superintendent Symposium in Palm Springs, which is, it's later this year, it's the first week in February. So normally it's about the 3rd week of January. But I have got business down there before, so I sent an email, I said I'm going to be at the Superintendent Symposium, I'm happy to meet with you, let me know what time you can meet, and then I meet with them. So that's a good opportunity. You'll see that of the 1,000 superintendents in California, more than 800 go to that symposium. It's a big event. And then doing the screening, given me a little bit of a chance to do some preliminary background checks. So what I do is I call 2 references, and we get the applications in. I'm kind of keeping track in my head, just preliminary screen in my own mind. What do they look like? So I call a couple of references, and I go back 10 Google pages, see if there's anything weird for the candidates. The screeners do their thing. I meet with them, and then meet with you all, and go over the candidates. So remember, there's going to be 3 stacks. They're actually color-coded. There'll be a stack of green applications. Those are the candidates that all 3 screeners feel comfortable recommending to you. There'll be a stack of pink applications. Those are the applications that none of the screeners feel comfortable recommending to you. And then a stack of blue in the middle that maybe 2 recommend them, 1 doesn't. One says yes, 2 say no. And then I'll talk about at length the green applications, a little bit the blue, and not at all the pink. You'll have those applications at least 2 days before to look at, so we'll put a tightly sealed envelope with confidential stamped all over it for you to pick up, to review those applications before the meeting. And then we'll go over them. You guys pick who you want to interview.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a coalition of basically districts that are part of an organization?
Yes, that's where
Yes.
Yeah, will we maybe send a...
I'm actually friends with some of the people on the board there. So the word is already spread about your district.
Sure.
I'm on the board too.
There you go.
We actually have the, good question.
Anything else? Is that timeline comfortable for you all?
Interviews, March 1st.
I think that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that depends on you. It's really important that you all participate in the interviews. And normally, I can interview anytime. But in general, if you have 6 candidates, it's going to take all of one day from very early in the morning till late at night. So the way I've done it in the past, and it seems to work well, is I tell the candidates the board's going to interview you the first, say, Thursday or Friday or whatever the day is, and then I need you to stand by after, because I'm meeting with the board after interviews are done, and the board's going to decide on bringing back 2 or 3 people. So stand by. And they do that. There hasn't caused a problem yet. And then as we close the board meeting and you tell me who you want to interview for a final interview the next day, I get on the phone right away and say, hey, great news, or hey, I'm so sorry, it just didn't work out for you. That same night, we'll develop questions to ask the candidates in the final round that come from their individual interviews. So you'll ask the same questions of all the interviewees on the first day, and you'll be taking notes. We're going to give you a little workshop on what to write in your notes and whatnot to write. But you'll have questions. You'll say, hey, I really like this person, but they said something, I want to know more about it, or they said something that sounded kind of strange. And so we'll develop questions based on your notes, your thoughts about the candidate for that final interview. The first round of questions, I'll start sending you those soon. So I'll have a bank of questions that come out of the input. I'll send them to you and say, what do you think? So the most that you can ask is about 18 or 19. That takes an hour and a half. So I'll send you probably 17 questions and say, what do you think? And we'll massage those back and forth until interviews happen, until you all can agree these questions sound good and comfortable. After we have the final round interviews and you pick the final candidate or the final 2, we'll do the same thing. We'll meet and say, okay, what do you want me to ask when I call those 15 or 16 or 17 references? What do you want me to find out about these people? What do you want me to dig into? We'll do that and then make those calls. We'll have another meeting. I'll say, this is the information I have. How do you want to proceed? And then at that point, you'll meet with your attorney and develop a contract. So everything will go really smoothly from this point on.
What's gone smoothly so far?
Yeah.
It seems good. Question?
Do you think it's worthwhile to, or is it over-communicate to do another email blast between, like, say, February 1st? You know, you give them the first one, hey, this job's open on January 9th. 3 weeks go by, at the end of January, and then you have February coming up again. I know you said words out, but I'd rather over-communicate, and maybe there's that one person that read the email in January and went, I don't know, and then saw it again and went, oh, maybe I'll do it.
That's a good thought. Easy to do, too.
Yeah, I think it's just a nice reminder. It's a long break, and it's like, hey, you still have 3 weeks. Make it very positive. You know, still looking for that opportunity in mind.
That's a good point.
Here you go. I mean, it's a chance to kind of spice the market. You know, we're want it to be a single go deal.
Absolutely could do it. And what I'm going to be working on this next week, based on the direction you give me tonight, is the position announcement. So that's about a 6 or 7 or 8 page paper that talks about your community, your district, and then talks about all of this. So I do spice that position announcement up a little bit as far as marketing your district and your community.
Something the Chamber of Commerce would like, right?
Well, what I did was I met with your city manager, your town manager, and he gave me documents that described Calistoga, and it looked great. And I wrote back and said, is it okay if I use some of this? And he said, absolutely.
Good.
The second one is when companies are really recruiting top candidates, they offer a little bit of compensation as far as we're asking somebody to spend the night in town 3 nights. I'm not saying we put them up in the slog, but maybe a little budget to offset some of that if we really think these 6 people are worthwhile. Show them that we're interested in that. Is there something we can do? I don't want to give them a 3-day weekend in Calistoga, but is there some way that there's a reasonableness there? And so maybe we can get a discount or something. I'm not sure putting them all in one hotel is the right thing to do either, but still there's ways to help with that. And I know when you're recruiting, you recruit. Bank companies fly you in, and everybody does what depending on the position the budget allows. So I don't know. I think it would be nice to figure out a budget of some sort, whether you pre-arrange some room somewhere in town, or besides, you want them to get to know your town too. You don't want them to be the first time they see it is, stressing out. So
That would be amazing and completely up to you. I haven't experienced that before, and I think candidates, if they saw that, they'd be amazed.
Well, don't you think that little cost might go a long way?
I do. I mean, personally, if the guy's thinking, they already have to take 2 days off work, if somehow come up with an idea that says, hey, I'm not going to be at work for 2 days, if they're, they're talking to their district or whatever. I guess at this point, hopefully they talk to their district, so it's not super specific. But at the end of the day, I do think it shows the board is very committed to this new person.
We think each other.
I think that's a good idea, and I think it's still slow during that time, and I can probably help finagle some.
So
There we go.
At least something to do with the night stay, maybe not so much the travel cost, but at least once they get here, we're asking them for 2 nights and then a small meal stipend or something.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Do we have to agree these dates tonight?
Not tonight, but it's really important that, I've run into a couple of snags where we've agreed to the dates, and then 2 weeks before, a board member will say, hey, I just can't make it that day. So if we could just really focus on agreeing on the interview days, I personally think it's really important that all of the board members that are on the board at that point in time participate. I mean, in my mind, it's the most important decision you're going to make during your tenure on the board.
Agreed. So March 1st to 4th would be those dates that you're talking about?
Anywhere in there that works for you all. That, I think, I just suggested Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It could be Friday, Saturday. It could be whatever days you all want in that period. And maybe Monique can send out what you use to come to agreement. But there'll be full days. Actually, the second day, there'll be 3 days if you interview more than 6 candidates. So if you interview more than 6, there'll be 2 days of preliminary and then a final day of the finals. The first, and then something to think about, Monique probably already has it all figured out, found out that she's amazing in figuring all these things out, is the interview venue has to be located within the district boundaries, but hopefully off-site. So it's generally in Community Hall, or Alexander Valley, we had it in a winery conference center, and Shoreline, we had it in a museum.
We'll figure it out.
So someplace, and then what's worked really well, for something for you to think about, is the final interviews in several of the districts have been held in one of the board members' homes.
Okay. That's nice.
Makes it kind of informal. They're generally like a meeting, one at 8 and one at 10, and you serve pastries and coffee and orange juice and fruit, and kind of mingle for a while, and then sit down and start rolling into some of the things you're curious about.
Is that the second interview, Scott?
Second interview. So just something for you to think about. There are some search firms that have a dinner, and that, I'm open to that, that's up to you. So they take the candidate and his or her spouse out to dinner and have the interview there and see how they interact socially. So that's something for you to think about too. That's available. It's a,
We did something along with the organization that I work for, the interviewing PDs, and we working works really well in terms of seeing how the candidates interact with each other, all the people, and it becomes more open and more relaxed to the whole process. So
maybe you guys scratch your head about that, and we can fine tune that and see what you want to do. It's interesting, a little amusing story. I heard a story of this happened in a district in Northern California where they had a dinner, and the candidate was so comfortable with the board that he started drinking wine. He got drunk and lost a job because he drank too much.
There's a lot of wine in Calistoga.
Have to warn them. So that's all I have for you tonight. All I need is direction to proceed, and we'll get down to it.
I just have a quick question, maybe it's a silly question, but will every applicant that puts their application through Edgewater or whatever, they have to go through Edgewater?
Yes.
Ultimately? So we'll be presented with anybody who is completed, fully completed.
Yes.
Is there any other reason why an application would be pulled from us?
It would be pulled if it wasn't complete, or if, for example, the prompts, even though I say in the position announcement and on the application, do not say "see attached." If they put on all those prompts "see attached," or they don't write anything, or there's a tremendous number of misspellings, or they've cut and pasted and you have the wrong district. But as long as they have their
Will those still get in the pink folder?
Pardon?
Would those still get in the pink folder?
They would, absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll see all the applications regardless of what they come in. So what we'd ask for is the completed Edgewater application, a resume, a cover letter, and at least 3 current letters of recommendation. So as long as those things are included, then we would consider that a complete application.
Scott, question about background checks. Fingerprinting, DOJ, FBI. When does that come to play?
That comes during the period, that long period between the interviews and contract development. So there is a firm that, I used to use the Sonoma County retired sheriff for the background checks. And he charged a couple $1,000s. But then I heard from another search firm, a major search firm, that most of the people use something called National. And you simply have the candidate sign, it goes to this place in Colorado, and they can do the check in 2 days. So it's a criminal background check, a DMV check, a credit check, and a Megan's Law check.
Cool.
And it's $350.
That's a lot better than 2,000.
Yeah. And I strongly recommend you do that.
Anything else? Okay. Well, I think for 7.2, I think we proceed as we discussed here, Scott.
Awesome. I can't wait to get started. It's going to be great.
So thank you for all your time and effort.
My pleasure.
Do we want to make a deadline for when we'll all decide on dates for interviews?
So, Scott, before you go, Mark and Matt, do you have any comments, questions?
Yeah, the writing prompts, there was a few of the writing prompts that I felt that should be in there. That should be in there that were mentioned. I don't see the need to for somebody that's about to make a whole lot of money.
No, I'm good. I already blocked out the dates on my calendar. So.
Good.
And I'm at your 2 disposal, so if I can meet with you again, you're going to be official trustees. Give you all the background stuff, all the details.
Yeah. You know what, Scott, we can also do, just talk, and we can bring that timeline back to Monday's board meeting for a final approval. Put that on the agenda, just take
Well, I'm assuming that really at this point, the timeline is really, because of the contract, right? I mean, it's not set in stone, it's a draft. So the board can change it, and if they need to change it based on their standards.
You can. The only thing that I'd ask from me personally is that I do have other things that are happening, not searches, but for example, I do negotiations in 2 districts. So those dates are being set up now, and I have them on hold pending your timeline. So once we get your timeline, that's blocked out on my calendar, then I can start scheduling these other things.
Yeah, so I think that it's a good idea to
Just
finalize it.
finalize it, make sure that
That would
that's-
give us time to check with our board schedule.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I plan on coming to all of your board meetings and giving you an update if that's okay with you.
Of course,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
All right.
You taking any public comment?
Sure.
So, Brian Fenton again. I would like to continue to encourage the board to consider having representatives of teachers, community parents, community leaders involved in the screening and interview process. There's no reason you cannot do that. I know I've talked to Scott and I understand his perspective on that. But I just think that would be a good thing. Second, I know I went to the 3 parent meetings at the schools and did the 8-dot thing for the each colors and the qualifications. It's not exactly a scientific survey. It didn't include everybody. And also some individuals have skewed some of those numbers. They put all 8 of their, I saw one individual at 2 of the meetings put all of their dots on the Spanish language requirement or recommendation. And they were at all 3 meetings. They could have put all 24 dots on that out of the 57 votes that you had for that the new superintendent should speak Spanish. And of course, the job is 99.9% English. All the reports, budgets, everything is in English. I just don't want some criteria like that to get ahead and exclude 90% of potential qualified applicants. And so there's also, there's some of that, the things on that list you got to take with a grain of salt. Some things got through. They're popular things, but some individuals and a few, could have been more than one, could skew the results on those. The other thing is just there's a couple typos on your full report online. I saw that the online survey comments that were for the professional qualifications, those were repeated again on the character qualifications. So some of that was cut and paste or something like that. Pardon?
Send it to me, I'll practice.
Okay, well you'll see, if you look at it, you'll just see it. It just, I don't know what the report is, cut and paste. But anyway, those are my comments, thank you.
All right, thank you. Yep, okay, well, moving on. Work calendar, we'll be meeting on Monday, again, Monday the 12th, to give the oath of office to Matt Reed, Mark Galindo, and Julie. I'll be doing that. Okay, so we'll see you all here on Monday. And then I would like to thank Trustee Hunt for his dedication to the school district for it's 18 years. I saw Bill Squire at the basketball game. He only had 17. So you're the longest tenured. So again, from me and from everybody, the school district owes you a great debt. There's a lot of work that you've done that has gone unrecognized, and I just want to go on record that I'm very proud to have served with you and to acknowledge the work you've done. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Now, that is only 18 years on the board. However, within the community and as a parent involved in the district, how many years is that?
That's a lot. Actually, Jeff Johnson tricked me onto the board when she was in kindergarten.
Okay.
So it's been through most of that. Yeah, when she started in kindergarten, I got on board. So, and then Megan graduated. So pretty much in line with that. So 18, but yeah, before then for the foundation and all that stuff, maybe another 5 or 6 years ahead of that. And then,
Well, thank you. We miss your expertise and your experience with the district. And this is from the district.
it's a great honor.
Time well spent.
Time well spent. That's very nice. Thank you. I'm over
Now
there.
here.
Seems like olive oil.
All right. Okay, moving on real quick. Monday, December 12th, we talked about regular board meeting. Tuesday, January 17th, regular board meeting, 6 o'clock here. And Monday, February 6th, board meeting here. Item number 9 is to convene to a closed session, which we're going to do. So, that's it.
We're not going to go to closed session.
We're not going to close
I
session?
don't know, are we?
Yes, Scott needs you to go to closed session.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a yes.
Then I move we move to closed session.
All right. Off we go. Thank you for coming, everybody. Scott, appreciate all your time and effort.
Probably.